Some of you expressed concern about the length of these videos. For your convenience, check out the table of contents on the right-hand side. Feel free to start at the beginning and work your way through the video for some awesome in-depth insights. But if you see what you came for, or just want to see something over that you didn't catch the first time, please feel free. And as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hey guys, I'm Shaft of the Clinic Casting crew. Welcome to Crash Course. Our guest for the evening, he will actually be taking control of the coaching session, but he is Lucoda. Lucoda, how are you doing today, bro?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. So you're going to be teaching us about Zerg versus Protoss today, correct?
Yeah, so a couple of months ago I wrote a guide on the matchup, and it's been getting a bit of people are like watching it and learning from it. So I still use it to this day a good bit, and it's really good, and it's good for newcomers coming into the game to learn as well, because it's pretty simple once you get the timings down.
Okay, so I know that there's a couple of different ways that Protoss and stuff open. How exactly do you open when you play this? Does the Protoss build have anything to do with what you're going to be doing, or what's your mind state going into Zerg vs Protoss?
Yeah, so Zerg versus Protoss out of all the matchups is definitely the most reactive one on the Zerg part. You have to be constantly scouting and reacting to what the opponent is doing, because if they catch you off guard, it's almost impossible to hold. So you'll see at the beginning of the game, I set my drone around looking for a proxy 2-gate, which is really important, because if they're proxy 2-gating you, you won't be able to put down the hatch like I did so early. This is very hard to hold. So in this game, I opened up a 15 hatch and a 16 pool in response to seeing no early probe scout, which usually indicates a gateway first, and seeing no proxy 2 gates. And I also took a gas because I saw no forge at the front or no fast nexus, which means he's probably going to go for some sort of light gateway aggression at least. So having the early speed is really helpful in this case.
Okay, and that's mostly for map control to hunt down pylons, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So when you get the speed out, you can just look around for pylons, and it's really handy. So in this, I set my first overlord to his natural, and I see the expansion coming down at that time. And I set my second overlord to my natural, so I could see if he was doing some sort of weird cannon rush, I'd be able to react accordingly. So now at 100 gas, I'm taking my drones off, and I make a few sets of lings, 2 for the towers, 1 to scout his front, and I'll react from there. I'm going to be going for 2 queens early, and I'm getting another queen for creep. It's good to have creep going down to your next base.
So basically, the number of bases you have plus 1?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So I see 3 gateways at the front, which means he has a total of 4 gates, which means he might be going for some aggression. So in this case, I want to be starting making lings very shortly. I make a batch of drones first. I also saw a sentry, which means he's not going really heavy aggression. He's gonna, be mainly defensive. If I saw a zealot instead of the sentry, I'd be a bit scared right now, and I'd definitely be looking around. I actually picked off his probe in the right side of the map, and I made a few more lings just in case.
Okay.
So I'm just scouting now with my overlord, the natural, having a look at what he's doing. Poking at the front of my lings, I see lots of sentries. He's not doing any big aggression anytime soon. Gonna set my roach on my evo chamber at the same time. In the guide I said you shouldn't get evo chamber because you have more units to defend all ins, but I actually find recently that getting the evo chamber is really helpful. It's just really handy to have upgrades so you can get into the mid game pretty easy. So just try to get some links into his base to see anything I can. Droning, getting gas.
Do you always get your
I got my
macro
macro
hatch
hatch
at this
mid lane.
timing?
It's it's actually a pretty good time at the moment. You want it around the time a third base comes down, so we see the third base. At this time I'm going to start my second evo chamber, because I know it's going to go into a sort of macro rush game, at least. Gonna start droning, take my 4th base. I'm going to work on the rocks at the back, taking my 4th base now. Droning a bit more, getting some safety units out. These are the panic roaches I like to call them, because I see a next base down, so generally a Zerg will be like, oh, I can just drone now, it's all good. But sometimes that might be a fake base, and then they might do some weird aggression, and then you're really screwed if you don't have those safety roaches. So I like to call those the safety roaches.
Gotcha.
Got my infestation pit down, getting my hive. Gonna set my hydra den at the same time. This is to get my Vipers out very fast and to get a couple of Hydralisks for DPS. Still making roaches, making a queen, overseers just in case of Dark Templar. Going for another scout with my overseer. I see 2 forges, which means he might be going for some sort of timing anytime soon. I also see a dark shrine, which is pretty important because I know I have to start getting some defenses soon. Still getting my hive, got my hydra upgrades on the way. Gonna start a few vipers ASAP. I see the front of his army. Gonna start making lots of units now. This army isn't too scary at the moment, but I have to start getting a concave ready now just in case he does attack. So you'll see I start spreading out my units a bit.
Yeah, you pre-split them before the engagement?
Yeah, like just in case. It's really important to pre-split because like if you just have all your army in a bunch, he can get really good force fields off and you're really in trouble then. Whereas if you have a good concave ready, even if he doesn't attack, it's nice to have. You just have your units all split out. Still getting my upgrades, my +2 just finished. My 5th base is getting saturated. And remember, the whole aim of this build is so I can get a big muta switch coming out.
So
that's really important.
You haven't been aggressive at all this game. You've just stayed back on your creep, played defensively. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is a bit of a blunder by me. I sent my Vipers up a bit too aggressively and they got picked off. So this engagement could have went a lot better for me, but it didn't. So you were saying about me playing a bit passive. I think that's really important because if I play aggressive, he might get a really good engagement and then I'm really in trouble. Whereas the whole aim of this is to make just enough units to be able to defend any pressure he can put on so that I can go for a big muta switch later on.
Okay.
So I traded my army with his and I just remaxed on purely roaches because I knew he only had Colossus. He didn't have any Templar or anything like that. So roaches are really good to have in this situation. And I clean up the army pretty easily and I'm in a really dominating position at this point. You see my spires up, getting my muta upgrades. I have a really good drone count. I have 77, which is perfect. Still making roaches, getting my gases at my 6th. So yeah, the whole point of this build is to get a big economy going behind your like roach hydra force, and then that means you can get a really good muta switch going. This is a blunder by me now. I saw the dark shrine, I didn't defend properly, and he managed to pick off a base and a couple of drones, which is really annoying. But we deal with it okay. He didn't do enough damage to get back into the game, to be honest. As you can see by the supplies and the bank, I'm in a good enough position to be losing stuff. Getting my other base back up to fold. Creep spread could be a lot better, but with this style, creep spread isn't too important, to be honest. I think I have too many hydras in this case. Like that's, what is it, 16, 20 hydras, far too many. So this is at the point I'm going to get aggressive. Really good engagement for me. And now, look at my bank, I'm just going to want to trade my whole army at this point and then go for a big muta switch. He has no Stargates, so there's no way he can deal with a muta switch at all. Trading. Gonna pick off this base, retreat. I see probes coming up here. There's a base I didn't scout. Trade. I'm gonna lose everything, but it doesn't matter, because look at my bank.
You can just do a big tech switch. You're basically
exactly, that's it.
You were banking money and freeing your supply.
Yep, 40 Mutalisk on the way. And what does he have to deal with it? Have a look. He has 2 Stalkers and a Dark Templar.
Right.
I think this is going to go in my favor. Exactly. So he didn't open with a Stargate, so I could just do this. And look, I'm even going to take his normal fort base as my like 7th base. And he's used the mutas. He's going to tap out.
Tech switching seems like a big strength of a Zerg player's arsenal. How important is it to tech switch, and what makes it so special for Zerg to be able to do that?
The main thing about the Zerg army is, right, we have mobility and we have lots of Zerg stuff, alright? So like with Zerglings, you can get 2 of them, you can get like 400 Zerglings at a time, right? So like the units generally aren't like too great. Like, you know, like if you have to like compare one unit to another unit of another race, like they don't match too evenly, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So like being able to just constantly tech switch between like multiple techs and being able to hit like multiple locations with like loads of units at the same time, it's really important to utilize that as Zerg. So yeah, like this game just went really dominating for us.
Okay. And if
just a point to note as well. Sometimes the muta switch won't win you the game straight out. So in that case, you have to like focus on buildings down at a time. So it's important to focus down the Stargate like ASAP, because if they get enough Phoenixes out, it's very hard to win. then you want to hit forges, because if you don't hit the forges, they can just get like loads and loads of cannons out. And then you want to hit econ lots, like Nexus, just hitting loads of like places at the same time. It's pretty like multitask. Like, you need good multitasking for it. But as long as you practice it, your multitasking will improve in time. And players of any level can be doing this stuff, because the lower down you are, the lower down the opponent is as well. So it's fine.
Yeah, they're gonna have a harder time defending it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so so that was your very standard style. Now, what could you scout that's going to make you diverge from this path you've set up?
Okay, so
let's
I'll give you an
review
example.
the path real quick, and then go into your diverging paths.
Okay, sure. So you open up the game, and the opponent either goes a Forge Fast expand or he goes a Gateway expand. If he opens a Forge Fastway expand, you're going to want to get fast 3 bases, like a 4-minute turret, and you're going to want to play it from there. Like you're going to want to skip gas for it until like 6 minutes. You know, like that's the standard like bread and butter Zerg versus Protoss from back in 2012, where Stefano was going mass roaches. Then Gateway expand, you just saw how you do it. You get an early gas, you delay your turn base for a bit, and you're going to want to get lings for map presence, so you can deny any pylons. And then from there, you're going to want to get roaches and hydras to defend any 2 base all-ins off 1 evo chamber and 4 hatches. And when you see his next base, you're going to want to get another evo chamber and an infestation pit and a 4th and 5th base. Like, just get all those at the same time. And it's like getting a big econ, getting a big army up, and then just defending, putting on aggression when you feel necessary, like not losing too much at a time, just getting a big bank, so then you get a big muta switch. So that's just the standard one. That's like, if you're playing as a Stargate opener, that's the one you want to do, things like that. However, if you play against a robotics bay opening, like Fast Immortals to take a 3rd base, like in the last game we played, that's actually what the opponent did, but I decided to just go standard anyway. You don't have to do this switch. I like to go straight into Mutalisks, like to skip roaches, skip hydras, just go straight into Mutalisks. And you'll see why in this game. It's just really hard for the Protoss to defend against Mutalisks, because they have no answer, if you know what I mean. Like, they have a few stalkers. Like, you can just hit loads and loads of locations at the same time.
And this
there's
map
nothing they can do.
especially.
Oh, this map is just so good for Mutas, because like, look how big it is and look how fast Mutas are, and look how immobile the Protoss army is. It's just perfect for us.
신앙 선수가 되는 거고요. 그렇죠. 멀티에 방해도 받지 않으면서 안전하게 해주고 있는 모습인데, 맹독 측의 스피드업이 되기 전에, 즉 전방 위에서만 싸워야 되고 전방만 좀 제거하고 빠지면 돼요. 네, 이렇게 스캐너만 뿌리고 이 근육을 살려면 그렇습니다. 이대로 잘못하면은